friends, my name is Larissa. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the spiritual evolution that occurs when you are on a living foods diet, raw, vegan, high raw, whatever calls to you. But basically, the more living foods you eat, how I've witnessed within myself and others in my life, this spiritual awakening and transformation that occurs that is almost unavoidable, and the true reasons why it happens, and a little bit about my experience with it. So we are more than a physical body, and everything that happens within our physical body is happening on all levels of our being. So on the energetic level as well, the mental, the emotional. And so when we are transitioning to a raw living foods diet, we'll notice our body will start to cleanse and detox and remove the excess waste from, a life of eating improper foods. That when you do eat animal products, meat, dairy, eggs, and processed foods and refined carbohydrates like bread and pasta, lots of grains, these foods really stagnate in the body. They get stuck in the intestinal tract. Especially animal products, they basically just get stuck because there's no fiber, and we need fiber to move the food through our digestive tract. So those foods get stuck. And if you think about meat, well, it's a dead body. And what happens to dead bodies when they're just laying around? They start to rot and basically just decay. And this creates a decaying of rotting foods, not foods, but what a lot of people think of as food, basically just decaying dead bodies and rotting matter that just starts to build up and build up over time. And it's a huge reason why people have body odor, and it's the main cause of basically all disease. It starts in the intestinal tract. It starts with what we are putting in our body as food, as fuel. And oftentimes, most of the choices that most humans are making about what they're putting into their bodies is not actual human food, because we are primates. We are classified as primates. We are the closest in nature to any other animal is, our primate relatives. And all the primates in nature are designed for a fruit-based diet based on our biology. When you really, really research the biology of the human body, it's perfectly designed for a diet predominantly of fruit and all living foods, because all animals in nature eat living foods. They don't cook their foods. The reason why they eat differently based on their biology, like carnivores versus omnivores versus herbivores versus frugivores, which is what we are, frugivores, we eat different based on our biological design, but all animals eat their food in the raw form. And that's what perfectly shows us what we are biologically designed to eat. So if we have to cook our foods, this denatures them. This basically takes the life force out of them and the enzymes, and it kills a lot of the nutrients that are heat sensitive, really important ones like vitamin C, which a lot of people are deficient in. A lot of people are also deficient in fiber, which is funny because everyone's obsessed with, are you getting enough protein? Are you getting enough protein? Everybody's getting enough protein. Nobody is protein deficient, but a lot of people are fiber deficient and vitamin C deficient. And the diet needs to be more focused on the plant foods in the living form. And so we have a lot to overcome in our societal programming. And when you start to make the shift towards this alternative lifestyle and you're going against the grain, that's a huge step in the spiritual evolution, is waking up to the lies and the deception that we are programmed into from birth, into thinking. Like, I remember when I was younger, I ate meat because that's what everyone did. That's what I did since I was a kid. I never questioned it. And since it was on the food pyramid, which told me everything I had to eat to be alive, to get all my nutrients, never questioned. I just thought I had to eat meat to be alive. I thought I would die without it. But that's a huge lie. No, actually, the leading cause of death in the world for humans is heart disease. And that is hugely linked to saturated fat and cholesterol in the diet. And that comes from animal products, not from plant foods. So no carnivorous or omnivorous animals in nature get heart disease from eating meat. Their bodies are designed for it. They can eat it raw. They will eat it bloody, uncooked, unseasoned, with the fur still attached. They're not grossed out by it. Whereas we want our meat products to be packaged and clean, and we don't want to see the fur, we don't want to see the blood. It's just not right. We are not biologically designed to eat meat. It just doesn't make sense. Nobody wants to see where their food comes from and see what happens at the slaughterhouses, and you would never show your children, you would never take them there, but you can take them berry picking. That's a joy. That's natural for humans. We enjoy that. We enjoy the smell, the taste. We don't need to season the fruit, and we have the type of vision where we see in color so that we know when a fruit is ripe and ready to be picked. Our vision is very different than carnivorous and omnivorous animals. Everything about our biological design. And I've made a really in-depth and detailed video about the biology of frugivorous animals versus carnivorous and omnivorous. And so it goes really deep into detail about why humans are in fact frugivores. So check that video out if you want to just dive deeper into the understanding of the human biology so that you can be more confident in the understanding that we are designed for a fruit-based diet. And it's actually quite obvious once you just take the time to undo the old programming and actually just tune into common sense and just be open-minded. And then when you try it for yourself and you start to embody this lifestyle, you'll start to feel so amazing. Everything will just click. But when we start eating the cleansing foods and the physical body starts to cleanse and remove the blockages that are in the intestinal tract, that basically all these blockages are causing so many health problems, and the physical blockages are causing energetic and emotional blockages and even mental ones, because everything is connected. And when you start detoxing the physical body, you typically will experience an emotional detox, a spiritual detox. You might, your relationships in your life might start to shift. You might start to release and let go of relationships, of old patterns and behaviors. I mean, my life completely shifted when I transitioned to this lifestyle. I immediately decided to leave a toxic relationship that I had been in for almost 4 years, where this person was emotionally abusive and cheating on me the whole time, but I had been stuck and I had been in fear, and I had stayed until I decided to finally just step into my power and start actually loving myself for the first time. And it started with changing my diet and taking the alcohol out of my diet and lifestyle. And I got off of prescription medication for the pre-diabetes that I was diagnosed with, insulin resistance. The doctor said, oh, you're gonna be diabetic your whole life unless you take this medication for the rest of your life. There's nothing else you can do. Huge lie. Sugar is not the cause of diabetes. Too much fat is. And I was able to reverse that problem. I was able to reverse insulin resistance and pre-diabetes and get off medication. But the medical industry doesn't want you to know that. They want you to think that sugar is the problem, go on a low-carb diet, and be on medication for the rest of your life. But that is not the answer. That's just how they keep their customers, by keeping you in the dark to the truth. And so once I discovered the truth and I realized I had been lied to my whole life about diet and medicine and all these things, I allowed this feeling of just sort of a little bit of anger, as well as feeling so deceived and lied to. I used that as fuel to transform my life. So everything changed. Like I said, I got off the medications, I went sober, I left a really unhealthy relationship, and I started eating raw living plant foods, and I took all the animal products out of my diet and started transitioning to the raw vegan lifestyle. And wow, from the beginning, I've just felt so light, so amazing, so energized, and like a completely different person. My life started detoxing on all levels, of course, physically. a lot of waste was coming out. I mean, most people are carrying around like 40 pounds of just toxic waste sitting in their colon, rotting. And it's a huge reason a lot of people have a distended gut. A lot of people think that they're carrying a lot of fat in that region, in their, belly area. But it could be fat, but it also a lot of times is just all this fecal matter, all this waste matter just building up in their intestines, and it's just sitting there and rotting. And they're carrying all this extra weight of all this waste. And a lot of this waste too that is really toxic and really gets stuck can be stored all the way from like childhood. So it's really crazy, but a lot of the waste will start to come out. Your body will start to naturally detox, and your life will start to detox. You will probably go through some emotional detox. It can be an adjustment period, because a lot of the times we weigh ourselves down and numb ourselves with food, comfort food. Anytime we have any discomfort, we just eat to cover up our feelings. And without these heavy, stimulating foods, the lighter foods, the living foods, don't give you that numbing effect. So you really have to start facing your feelings a lot more and facing yourself a lot more. So you usually go through a huge spiritual evolution just through that alone, and just becoming more emotionally mature and healing past traumas. It just gives you no other choice but to evolve in that way. So that's a huge thing that a lot of people will notice, as well as, like I said, your life detoxing as far as your relationships, unhealthy patterns, unhealthy things in your life, like using toxic chemicals to clean your clothes and your home, all the things that you use like on your body, hygiene products. You'll usually start to shift to more natural products as you become more and more aware and conscious of the health of your beautiful vessel. And I've also just, a lot more love has developed to the way I see my body and taking care of my body, like this beautiful responsibility that I have in this lifetime. And yeah, it's just a whole nother level of self-love. I just also wanted to quickly mention that right here, what I'm wearing is a device that protects me against EMFs. If you don't know what EMFs are, they're electromagnetic frequencies that are basically unavoidable at this day and age, because we're always around Wi-Fi and cell phones and all of these technological devices that we really can't get away from. And so wearing a device like this helps to protect your body and your energy a lot. And I just got this very recently. I just started wearing it and I already feel a huge difference. And I was also very impressed by the research that this company called Aries Tech has on their website that shows the difference in the health of the body when you're around a cell phone without wearing this versus with wearing it. And so that really intrigued me. So I decided to work with this company, and I have a 25% off discount for you if you use my code Larissa, and I'll have the link down in the description below. So if you're interested in getting a device that will protect you against EMFs, check them out. They have ones that you can put on your phone as well, and a few other options to choose from. But this one's very powerful, feels good to wear, and I know I'll always be safe. But like I was saying, like just having a deeper understanding for, loving yourself on all these different levels, being mindful on all these different levels, it really starts to awaken once you become more conscious with the raw foods. And I feel like when those blockages are removing, because you're removing the waste buildup from your body, your energy body can start flowing more effortlessly because there's less of these physical blockages. And you tune into the higher frequencies that give you more inspiration, more wisdom, and it just makes things make more sense. It's like, oh yeah, it makes sense to eat this way. Oh yeah, it makes sense that I shouldn't be cleaning my home with chemicals or putting chemicals on my body. Like there's natural products that I could put on my body for soap and shampoo and all that kind of stuff. Oh, it makes sense that this huge food industry that makes, addictive junk foods, it makes sense that they kind of work hand in hand with the pharmaceutical industry to keep us sick and poisoned, because they're businesses, they want to make money. So I can't trust everything that a doctor tells me. I can't trust everything that these processed food labels say. They say like organic, natural, healthy. You can't trust all of that. It's marketing. These are businesses that want to make money. And you know who doesn't do any marketing? Fruit trees. They just exist. And our biology naturally is drawn to them, to the beautiful smell of the flowers and the fruit and the colors and the taste. There's a huge reason humans like sweet things, and that we all have a sweet tooth and we're all addicted to sugar. No, we just need sugar for fuel. There's a huge reason that sugar is the fuel source that our body chooses. If we ingest food that has sugar, fat, and protein, what does the body choose to use as fuel? It chooses the sugar. It will only choose the fat and protein in a state of complete deprivation of sugar. When we get into like ketosis, which is like a survival mode for the body, and it puts the body under so much stress. So all these people doing keto and carnivore, they're just living in survival mode, and they smell horrible, and they're putting themselves into acidosis, and they're making themselves more prone to all the diseases. But when you alkalize the body with raw living foods, then you're basically putting yourself at a really, really, really low risk for developing all these common diseases. And you're flooding the body with antioxidants, and you're flooding the body with vitamins and nutrients and things like chlorophyll and all these great plant chemicals that keep the body really, really healthy and hydrated and energized, like sugar. And as someone who used to be pre-diabetic, now I can eat all the sugar in the world because I keep my diet low in fat. I don't eat any animal products. That's what causes the real problems. And not just with diabetes, with cancer, with heart disease, candida, all these things that they tell you that sugar is the problem. It's not. I mean, of course, refined sugar is not a healthy food. It's refined. It doesn't have, fiber and vitamins and minerals. But the sugar that's naturally found in fruit is pure energy, and fruit itself is pure life force energy. It is, when you're eating it, a lot of people don't realize one of the main nutrients that we need is life force energy, that energy that comes from the sun. It's not on the food pyramid, it's not on the nutrition label, but it's what most people are deficient in, is life force energy. And that's because most people are eating all of their meals cooked. They're eating foods that you need to cook to consume, like starches and animal products and processed foods, which tells you right there that those foods are not for the human body. They're devoid of life force energy. And the more you consume that energy from the sun, that energy of the source, of the creator, of God, it really awakens your light within. Your energy body starts to activate and vibrate even higher, because the highest vibrational food on the planet is fruit. And it makes sense because it's basically just the tree is harnessing the power of the sun and using that energy to produce this beautiful, juicy, divine, like so delicious, perfectly aligned with human biology source of fuel. Like it clicks, it makes sense. It tastes good. We don't need to season it. We don't need to cook it. It's full of divine energy that energizes our body, that cleanses our body. It's perfect. And so when you start eating more and more of that food from God, that's in its perfect form, which of course it's always better to get it from sources like a farmer's market or grow your own food, because they're even attacking us through the food at the grocery store, even with the produce. I mean, of course we can do our best by staying away from the junk food, but the produce at the grocery store too is getting hit with, of course we know about the pesticides and the genetic modifications and all of that, but there's also like the waxes that they're putting on the outside of fruits, and it's just really hard to find a food source in its most pure, most divine state. And we can only do as good as we could possibly do. We can only do our best. So it's best to not over stress, but it is also best to try to find a farmer's market near you where you can get it straight from the farmer, where you know the people who touched it, because everything gets imprinted with the energy it's around and those who handled it and touched it. And we can't be overly cautious and live in fear. That's not, you can bless your food and your water. Like our water is a whole nother thing that there's a huge, issue when it comes to our society around how we get our water, because that's a whole, I need to make a whole nother video on water because I could do a huge deep dive on all of that. But please bless your water before you drink it, restructure it, harmonize the frequency of your water, because the stuff that's coming through the tap, and of course you should not be drinking tap water, you should definitely be like filtering it through a reverse osmosis or a charcoal filter at the very least. There's a lot of different options when it comes to that. But even after that, just imprint love, peace, like divinity back into the water. It really appreciates it. Water is a sentient being and it likes being acknowledged. And whatever energy you imprint into the water before you drink it is what you will receive. So be mindful of that. But I'll share more about that in another video, because yeah, I can go deep on the water. But bless your food too before you eat it, because all that traveling it did, if you got it from the grocery store, who knows how far it came and how many different energies it was around to get to your plate. So just project love and gratitude onto your food before you eat it. And that's a huge part of the energy that you're receiving, because when we're eating food, we're not just eating food, we're receiving energy, and we're putting that energy into our bodies and becoming one with it, which is another huge reason it is a really good idea to get animal products out of your diet, because those poor animals, they're going through such a tortured life, and at the very end, they're being murdered, and they're experiencing all this adrenaline and fear, and that's the energy that is carried in their meat. And then you're eating that energy and putting it in your body. And yeah, it's why I think a lot of people struggle with mental health in our society, and anger and violence. That's the energy they're putting in their bodies. So even though fruit is, on already a very high vibration, there's no harm in putting even more good energy into your food right before you eat it, having gratitude and thanks, because what you put out there, you receive. And that's the energy that you're putting into your body and building your energy and your cells and your life force on. And so the more and more that you just bring in the awareness, the presence in every moment when you're eating your food, when you're making decisions about what you're gonna buy at the grocery store or where you're gonna go to buy your food, and what kind of products that you're gonna buy to clean your home and clean your body. When you have this level of awareness constantly, and you're not just living as a zombie in this fog of just consumerism and being fooled by marketing and being fooled by, what experts and research says that makes no sense. Like, when you're just tuned in and tapped into your intuition, because you've been working on yourself, you've been meditating, you've been moving your body and being in nature and getting sunshine and eating good food, like everything just starts to make sense. All of the knowledge and the wisdom of the universe starts coming in, and you don't even have to question what's right and wrong anymore. Everything just starts to make sense. And like I said, I think it really just starts with removing these physical blockages from the body, letting the energy flow, and your life will just start to transform. It's a miracle. It just happens. It's happened to me. It's happened to all of my friends that are on the high raw lifestyle. We're all on a similar frequency where we have just a different level of awareness. And it's just so interesting how that happens. And so anyway, guys, I just wanted to share a bit about that experience that I've had with my spiritual evolution and being on the raw living foods and how it's transformed my life in such a positive way, as well as my friends. And I've been able to cultivate such beautiful, like-minded, high vibrational community around me, which I'm so grateful for. It takes some time, you know, after your social circle detoxes, you know, sometimes you have to spend a bit of time on your own, getting comfortable with being in your own energy and by yourself and really getting to know yourself before you're ready to, I guess, set more of an intention of the kind of people you want to call into your life. And so I've gone through that. I've gone through the solitude. I've gone through the dark nights of the soul. It's not always easy. Sometimes there is some dark times when we're evolving into our highest selves. And a lot of that is releasing and letting go of the old programs and the old paradigms that we were living in. And yeah, those old relationships, it can be really, really tough. But that's why, you know, this is a spiritual journey that when you start to realize through the hard times, you get to uncover a lot of wisdom. And then on the other side of that is the bliss and the good times and feeling your absolute best. It becomes so worth it. And then when you're on this high vibe, you start attracting such high vibe people around you, and it feels so good and nourishing to the soul to just find your soul family and to just have people around you that feel really good to be around, that are uplifting. And I've been lucky to connect with a lot of beautiful soul fam online here on these wonderful platforms. So I'm so grateful to all of you here who tune into my videos, who are, you know, on the similar frequency, who this message resonates with, or if you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in and checking out this video. And feel free to subscribe if you like these kinds of videos, because I love going deep on spiritual topics about health and wellness. I love sharing my healthy lifestyle and the adventures I go on and living free and abundant and just enjoying every moment of blissful life, but also sharing sometimes when, you know, sometimes things go up and then down and up and then down, and that's just life, and you learn to accept it and pull the wisdom out of, you know, all of the darker times. But I love to then share that with you all, everything that I learn on my journey. So thanks for being along for the ride. If you're interested, you could also find me on Instagram as well. And like I mentioned, if you want to protect yourself against EMFs and all that good stuff, it's really important to do these days. So check out the link below if you want to get 25% off on an Aries Tech device. And thank you guys so much. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.